Is wrestling in a boom period? Probably not, but I think it's a really good time to be a fan.
Fire it up.
So what does this even mean, wrestling boom? The wrestling boom was a period in the 1980s in which essentially WWF and WCW took over the rest of the regional territories that existed in the United States. Around this time, wrestling was extremely popular. Celebrities like Cyndi Lauper were introduced into the show, and pay-per-view events kind of became a part of this whole thing. It was truly a golden era in wrestling. The WWF, now WWE, did their first WrestleMania events, and there were literal titans, literal giants, like people like Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man Randy Savage. They all became these household names. What do we have going on right now with wrestling? I think it's a little dismissive to call it a wrestling boom of sorts or a new boom. So if you look in that god-awful website, Twitter/X, you'll see a lot about this Boom Wrestling company that I was not aware of. And you'll see a lot of Adam Cole tweets as well. And there are a lot of differing opinions about this boom of sorts. No surprise, can't believe some people actually think there is a wrestling boom, LOL. Not even close. WrestleMania is WWE's biggest draw and will always be. This is a week away. SmackDown tomorrow is a close sellout. Wrestling isn't in a boom period. Only WWE is in a boom period. Levels. But we're going through a wrestling boom. Fox would have such stupid idiots to pass on a gold mine like SmackDown. So much for being in a wrestling boom, and it's only going to go down from here. Wouldn't be surprised if they dropped to 900,000. This crowd are on fire this evening. One of the loudest crowds I've heard for a long time. Wrestling really is in a boom period. It's crazy to see wrestling experience another boom period in real time. I hope Endeavor is smart and offers to hire Stephanie McMahon back now that TKO is a reality. It's thanks to her and Hunter last year that wrestling entered this boom period, even if AEW is making it carny again. Yikes. 81,000 people crowded a stadium to watch a non-WWE show. Wrestling is in a boom period. I guess the cool thing about being online is that anyone can have a opinion, including me. WWE completed their merger with UFC to create TKO Company Holdings. What is it? TKO Group Holdings as of September 12th. So this, of course, all sounds fantastic. You know, it seems to be a lot more money coming in for WWE. And as of the writing on this video, they were sharing at $102 a share. So if you care about the economy of wrestling, there is this really cool Twitter account. It's called Wrestling Tix. That's at WrestlingTix. For better or for worse, they keep track of the figures of different wrestling shows, how many tickets they sell, how many tickets are available, and how many are set up for the arena. So you have SmackDown, for example. Friday night SmackDown for September 15, 2023 from Denver, Colorado was set up for 12,789 fans, sold 12,629 tickets, meaning that there were around 160 tickets available. I would say that this is essentially a sellout. Friday night SmackDown for September 8th, 2023 from the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts was set up for 12,273, sold 11,839, and 434 remained. I would say also very close to a sellout. SmackDown September 1st, 2023, Hershey, Pennsylvania, set up for 8,613, sold 8,607. September is also a horrible gauge for this because there is football, and football is one of wrestling's biggest enemies. Historically, wrestling is not super exciting around this time. It seems that they just spin their wheels and they just kind of go with the flow. All this in mind, WWE is still doing around 10,000, 8,000, 9,000 at these arenas. Granted, these are 20,000, 18,000 arenas that are running as around 2/3 capacity, but I think that's still really good. And this is not only the case with TV, this is also live events. These live events that essentially have no meaning to any of the stories are still doing 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 at these very same arenas. Selling that much on a show that doesn't matter is pretty crazy, right? At the risk of sounding very tribalistic, you have AEW on the other hand. With a final attendance number of 72,265, AEW All In from Wembley Stadium. This is not only a huge success for AEW, but it's a huge success for wrestling as a whole, as over 70,000 fans paid money to see a non-WWE show. Now, the other side of this coin is the domestic market. AEW on September 13, 2023 from Cincinnati, Ohio was set up for 3,870 and sold 1,746. AEW on September 6, 2023 from Indianapolis, Indiana was set up for 3,174 and sold 2,899. Now truly, these are almost sellouts for both of these. Well, maybe not the first one, but these are still great numbers. I mean, sure, they're not getting anywhere to those 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, or 11,000 sometimes, but they're getting there. And for wrestling, these are still great fucking numbers, man. But I mean, you'll want to shorten the gap a little bit. Why is AEW failing to do 8,000 to like 10,000 tickets?
New Japan has 82 5-star or better.
Yeah,
matches.
well, that
82.
I mean, I know, and
TNA has 1.
Yeah,
WWE has 9. Like, it just seems like you know, there's a certain style of match that you prefer, and that's
well, I mean,
totally
the way that they build in Climax, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Since 2022, Dave Meltzer has rated around 40 matches 5 stars or more. That's not up to 2022. That is since the beginning of 2022. And do not take these ratings too hard. They are the opinion of one person only. And truly, it's just a rating system that is extremely inconsistent. By his definition of what makes a good match, The Miz versus Ricochet from Raw for a chance to be in the Money in the Bank match should be at least 4 stars, right? I mean, Miz went in there, he did athletic moves that were very unpredictable. Nobody ever sees The Miz doing this stuff, so why isn't that rated highly? And listen, I like New Japan. I don't follow it religiously, but I try to catch Wrestle Kingdom at least every single year, which is on January 4th. I like Naito. I was a big fan of Jay White when he was over there. But as a respectable journalist, this rating system is so flawed, it's so inconsistent. And truly, his opinion means absolute shit. Both WWE and AEW have managed to put on some of the best wrestling this past year. And it seems that like now that Triple H is in charge, that work rate has just a lot more value in WWE. You know, for my money, a match like Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville for WrestleMania is a 5-star match. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest is a 5-star match. And hell, maybe I'm biased because I was in the crowd, but Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar for SummerSlam this year, I think that's a 5-star match. And all these matches are dramatically different. They all carry a different type of work rate of some sort. And Dave Meltzer himself has said, if you race a match 5 stars, you should go out of your way to watch it. So I'm telling you right now, any of these matches that I mentioned, you should go out of your way to watch them. AEW values a more indie work rate. There's a lot less shenanigans. There is more athleticism, and that's that unpredictability. It relies a lot on these false finishes. These are all staples of this strong style, a lot of New Japan stuff that you see. And if you've been to an independent show in the last 10 years, these matches are very prevalent on here as well. I think though, if I go to GCW, to Revolver, to DPW, I don't really know any of these stories that they're telling there. I don't always know every guy in the roster. So, I mean, I'm there to see a good match for sure. I just don't think that this premise works on TV, really. You need a reason to come back every week. And if every match is a 5-star classic, then none of them are. This may be Vince McMahon's fault, but wrestling is a variety show. And maybe I'm indoctrinated, but not everything on the show is for you. Since around the year 2020, which was a very tough year for wrestling, WWE has been going to be playing this long game with the Bloodline storyline. And this is not a new thing. They've always had stories that take a long time to pay off, and sometimes they overstay the welcome. Sometimes they don't even pay off. Triple H seems to be a big fan of this. As of September 2023, when this is being written, this story has just come to a screeching halt. Well, not really. I do agree that the story doesn't really hit the same if Roman Reigns is not around to be a part of it. But WWE has managed to leave kind of this trail of issues with all the involved parties. You have people like Jey Uso that have all these enemies on Monday Night Raw. You have Jimmy Uso trying to find his footing with Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman, and the people that also on SmackDown are not going to like him either. Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, they all don't get along with the Bloodline. And now they have to find a way to work with Jey Uso. John Cena seems to get involved with Jimmy, and John Cena also had his issues with the Bloodline. All of these stories, all of these little dots in the map, they come at the consequence of one man, of one story, and that is the Bloodline, and that is Roman Reigns. And as of today, WWE is also trying to tell another long-term story with the Judgment Day. They kind of established themselves and created this lore. And you have people like Rey Mysterio and Edge that may be able to do their own thing, but eventually they're going to run into them and something's gonna bring them back. Edge was the leader of Judgment Day. Dominic hates his deadbeat dad, Rey Mysterio. WWE will reward you for paying attention in a way, while AEW, on the other hand, it doesn't seem like they value these stories as much. The best stuff on AEW, for my money, has involved a more sports entertainment, WWE style, and a lot of times it involves one Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. MJF has managed not only to deliver with the best stories, but also some of the best matches in AEW. And people that are much bigger nerds than me will say, well, the Elite is telling this very good long-term story with Adam Page. You just need to watch Being the Elite. Why though? Is Being the Elite recapped on AEW TV? Is that what Rampage on Friday night is about? I mean, is it? I don't know. I don't watch it. But honestly, AEW is very capable of telling these great stories, and they're able to deliver in the ring, but they isolate their fans too much. We do not need a best of 7 trio series. I know the matches were good, but the payoff just happened on match 1. And to be perfectly honest, I stopped caring after match 3. I think all these guys are just fantastic in the ring. I think they're great. But the stakes and the weight of the match, they just go away because you've seen so many of them back to 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 back. Is that 7? I don't know. AEW is so overloaded with all these talented people in the ring, but a lot of them are just not given the opportunity to show personality or to do any type of shenanigans. In the 2020s, you have some of the most talented wrestlers in the world in both AEW and WWE. Today, you could argue for best in the world. You have people like Bryan Danielson, you have people like Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, MJF, Kevin Owens, and why not Jey Uso? Around 2011, when I started this unfortunate journey in the internet wrestling community, there was only one best in the world, and that was CM Punk. WWE literally has a factory where they just turn these independent wrestlers and college athletes into superstars. AEW's talent pool just seems endless and endless. There's so many people on the undercards that are so talented, and under the right circumstances, they can also be in the main event very easily. I mean, think of people like Swerve, like Darby Allin. What are these guys doing? Not in the main event, but maybe they should be. Maybe they should utilize them. And outside of these top companies, there's just a ton of people that have just not been in the right circumstances, truly. They are successful. They just don't have a huge stage. But if any top company is looking for talent, they got so many places to put their grubby little hands in. And don't forget that Tony Khan has an endless supply of money. And honestly, what's the point of all this? Is there truly a wrestling boom? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Caring so much about TV ratings, attendance, revenue, match ratings, it's very exhausting. Twitter will manage to feed you the worst type of content. At the very least, they do to me. They present me with every single shitty opinion online. But listen, you're not obligated to pick a side. You can just watch everything. You can watch none of it. If you want to focus on AEW, great. If you want to watch Impact Wrestling, even better. The most fun that I've personally had has been at independent shows with the smaller crowds. Some of the wrestling is just dog shit, but it's okay because it's really fun, and I don't have to break the bank on any tickets. I can get some popcorn. I can get some cheap beer. I can just have fun. So my recommendation is just to go to a local promotion. Go to the one that draws like 10, 50 fans, or if they have 100, 500, it's a more polished indie like GCW. Go to a WWE live event. Get a New Japan World subscription. ROH has free matches on YouTube right now. You can watch Kevin Steen versus El Generico on YouTube for free. Truly, the amount of wrestling online and on TV is just overwhelming. And you definitely do not have to pick a side. I think one of the things that sometimes just makes wrestling great is just having people around you that are there to enjoy the show no matter what. The energy that you get from people just being around you with the same interest as you is just really, really amazing. So you know what? Just play along. Boo the bad guys, cheer the good guys, tell the ref to start enforcing some fucking rules, and just show up for what you like.
Ya hace tiempo traigo al homie malito. Le pasé una rueda en la par y el cuadrito. Un par de perras me deben delito. And she know that I slide, ya ni me agüito. Un par de feelings que no necesito. Un par de bichas quitando apetito. Un par de gires que con lo mío. El destino bien clavado que esto es lo mío. Ey, baby, you know what I...
If
If I can get 15 minutes out of this, that would be awesome.